Hey guys, so I'm going to record this weekly review, kind of show you the opportunities that were in gold and NASDAQ. So this week was okay for NASDAQ, but gold there wasn't really too many. So let me just delete everything. Start from the top. So as usual, go to the 4-hour time frame. We go to Monday. Let's take a look and see what happened on Monday. So Monday, pretty much, if you're looking at it like I do, structural wise, you can see this level was taken out. So, and then this became the lower low. And to me, this was the lower high, right? So I'm just going to mark this H4 lower high, H4 lower low. Right, and then this was Monday. So price is bearish Monday. And then what I noticed at the CMP is that price created an HNS. So now price has shifted potentially bullish depending on the 1-hour time frame, right? So then I take a look at the 1-hour time frame, and I need to see, let's see, yeah, we need to see the structure on the 1-hour time frame, right? So if you notice that price was trending down, just kind of mark this. This was the lower low, lower high. It's not the 4 hours, it's the 1 hour, but just to kind of show you how structure works, right? And then price shifted now. So now this became the H1 higher high, and then this became the H1 lower low, H1 higher low. Yeah. So price is bullish on the 1 hour, and then price is potentially bullish on the 4 hour, making a shift. So you'd be looking for a buy on Monday, but for me personally, I didn't find any setups. I went down to the 30-minute. Didn't find any setups. 15-minute. No setups. So Monday I can't trade because even though I have higher time frame context, there's no setup. So I can't take the trade, right? So hope that makes sense. Now let's check Tuesday. So prior to the New York session, again, I'm following price. I noticed that price created a breakout. So this was the most recent breakout. So I'm just going to mark this as the breakout. I just try to label things sometimes so I don't get confused. Better than to kind of guess, or just, it's easier when you have things laid out. So anyway, there's a bullish engulfing as well as a bullish breakout. So I'm looking for buys depending on the 1 hour time frame. So if I go over here, I look at these levels here, right? Prior to the New York session, I'm just going to mark these levels so you can see my logic and what I was thinking. So this was the H1 higher high. Personally, for me, this would have been, I would have used this as the lower low. Higher low, sorry. H1 higher low. It doesn't matter what you use, but then I need to look for a logic. So these two levels were the 4 hour breakout level. I don't see a setup for this one. This one was an SNRC1. So this counts as a valid setup. I know I told you guys this earlier. Or you could use that as an SNRC2, totally fine as well. And then you enter here, and then your take profit is the previous high. I always use the bodies. If I'm setting a take profit, I don't set it at the wick. I set it at the body. So I hope that makes sense. And yeah, so that was the trade for Monday. Tuesday. Sorry. So again, I reset. I go back, and then I just double check for the next day. So next day was Wednesday. So now at this point, I'm following the CMP. Price is still bullish as far as I'm concerned, but I need to now start focusing on the CMP because it's creating a pullback leg. So I need to start seeing what price is doing prior to the New York session. So prior to the New York session, this was what price was doing. It looks like it was creating a pullback. Price had stopped here before it started going up. So just to kind of show you. So this area down here, I would consider the lower low, because if you look at the 1 hour time frame, right, this was the lower low and this was the lower high. So now if price wants to go up, you need to look for a shift of structure on the 15 or 30 minute. So if I go to the 30-minute time frame, just to kind of show you, price would have to break this level here in order for price to continue to go up, because this was the last lower high. So I'm just going to put M30 just so you don't get confused and you can see what I'm talking about. Then I go to the 15 minute to see if there's a earlier shift, right? So go to the 15. And you can see there is. So this would have been the shift of structure, because if you notice the structure point goes, this would be the lower low, and this is the lower high. And you can see price broke it, shifted structure, created a mini QMR, right? This would have been the entry right here, right? You can see price broke structure, shifted it. So basically this is a pullback trade, is what you'd be trading. This is a pullback, and you can see that would be the entry. But personally, I didn't take it because I don't think the 8 o'clock actually tapped the level. You can see. So this had already missed me because I usually trade from 8 to 10. Yeah, so I wouldn't have taken this, but I'm just showing you my thought process and how I think and the logic that follows, right? So that's basically how you trade a pullback trade, you know, because the 4 hour was at a potential lower low. You know, it had these two bearish candles, and then you go to the 1 hour because H4 is bearish as of this moment right now, and you can see the 1 hour is bearish. So you would just need to see if there's any shift of structure towards the upside here, and that was the logic that I used. So I hope that makes sense. Now let's go to Thursday. Let's take a look and see what happened on Thursday. So this was Thursday. So again, I'm following structure. I'm looking for sells personally. So if you notice, like, this is basically the structure, and then I was looking for price to come back up somewhere in order to continue to go down. Personally, I didn't have any reference points. The only reference points I had was this level here of resistance. So I'd be looking for sells on Thursday, and then this is when I need to go to the 1 hour time frame. So you can see in the 1 hour time frame though that price is actually bullish, because this level right here is what I consider to be the higher low, because it broke this level. It broke this level up here. So I'm just going to move with this for a second. It broke this lower high here. Now this becomes the higher high on the 1 hour time frame, right? So I'm still looking for sells, but now I need a shift of structure again to happen on the 30 or the 15. So if I go to the 30-minute time frame, what you'll notice is that price created a double top at this level, right? So price created a double top, didn't shift structure, but it created a double top. If it were to shift structure, it would have had to break this level here, but you get an earlier indication because price created a double top, right? So this is the double top up here. But there was no trade for Thursday anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. So I'm just showing you the logic and how I was thinking. So no trade. The only trade was on Tuesday so far for the SNRC1, as far as my process goes. So then now I'm looking for on Friday, and Friday I'm just following flow. I'm following flow, right? So this is the next lower high, lower low. Now I'm looking for price to pull back somewhere so I can sell. I have this level here, but price had already broken it, so I had this level here. So now I need to see if it makes any sense on the 1 hour, right? So then this is where, again, I check the 1 hour time frame. Now, if you notice, price did pull back here. That was outside trade time. During the session, I'll just kind of show you my logic. This is what I was thinking. So let me just fix this. So if you remember, this was the 1 hour higher low. Okay. This was the 1 hour higher high, right? So price is still bullish. You'll notice that it never broke structure on the 1 hour, right? And if you notice on the 4 hour, price is technically bearish. However, it's respecting this OHLC. And if you notice on the 4 hour time frame, it looks like it's creating a potential higher low to break this structure here to continue to go up, right? So that's basically what it was doing, because price, if it wants to go up, you can't have a higher high without a higher low. So price was creating a higher low on the 4 hour. And how you know that is by the 1 hour time frame. If you've noticed that the 1 hour time frame has remained bullish. So price can do whatever it wants in here. As long as it doesn't break this level down here, it's still bullish. So that's basically what ended up happening. So during the session, you'll notice that price created a double top here, right? As a reversal. What you'll also notice is that price created a double bottom. So it created two reversals. So what would have made the most sense is to go with buys because you're still within the context of the 1 hour being bullish. So that would have been, I don't use double tops, double bottoms as setups. I use them more as direction confirmation. But I'm just showing you the logic and how that worked out. So that's basically what ended up happening. I hope that makes sense. So now let's go to the 4 hour time frame for NAS. Just delete everything and kind of show you what happened on NAS. So again, let's go to Monday. So this was Monday. So obviously I know price is bullish, price is going up. So prior to the New York session, this is kind of where price was at, right? So price looks like it's creating a potential higher low, right? So if I go to the 1 hour time frame, just to kind of see what price is doing, I mark it down to this level, which I would have considered, it's not really the higher low for the 1 hour. I would use this level personally as the higher low, just to kind of show you. 1 hour higher low, 1 hour. This is basically what, but I know that if price breaks this level, then price is most likely going to continue to go down. But this level was holding, so I was looking for buys during the New York session, but there was no buys. Price just pretty much took off, so there's nothing I could have done for that day. Totally fine. As long as I stay with my process, I'll be okay. So then next thing is Tuesday. So Tuesday, again, prior to the New York session, what do we have? Price looks like it's at a higher high, so I'm going to mark this as the 4 hour higher high because price is bullish. Then I go to the 1 hour time frame, see where price is at. Price is also at a higher high. So now I know that most likely I'm going to be trading a pullback on the New York session. So I'm going to be trading a pullback. So now I need to see if there's any shift of structure on the 30 or the 15. So let me go to the 30. So for me personally, on the 30 minute, this would have been the structure that has to break first, right? So this would have been M30. I'm just going to mark this break of structure. M30. Now I go to the, sorry if you can't see that. Now I go to the 15 minute and see if there's an earlier structure shift because I need a shift of structure to confirm the pullback, right? Even though H1 and H4 at a higher high, I don't just blindly start looking for setups. I need structure and I need logic, right? So this is the 15-minute shift of structure. This is what I was telling you guys the other day when I made a video and just shared it to the group. So just to kind of show you my logic, right? So you notice that the 15-minute had an earlier shift of structure, which is totally valid. So I would have taken the 15, so I wouldn't have taken this. And then my trade would have been the breakout level here. I would have used the apex because the closing price told me that was the right level to sell from. And then that was it. And then price obviously went down. So this was Tuesday. So that's what ended up happening. Now let's take a look and see what happened on Wednesday. So again, kind of reset. I'm going to go to Wednesday. This was Wednesday. So price is bullish. I'm just going to show you where people could get confused. So this is the H4 higher low. This is an H4 higher high, right? Higher high. Now, this is basically where people may get confused because if you're looking for buys because price is bullish, right? You want to know where price is going to pull back. But in order for price to create a higher high, it has to create a higher low, right? So this is where you focus on the CMP. So the CMP prior to the New York session for Wednesday created a breakout, probably because it's going to do a pullback to create a new higher low, right? So this is where I mark the breakout level because I'm just trading the breakout. So just show you what I'm talking about as far as logic goes. Oops. Okay, so price is temporarily bearish for the 4 hour, right? So now I'm looking for sells. Basically, I'm looking for sells, right? This is the breakout level, right? So now I need to see the structure for 1 hour, 1 hour time frame. If you look at the 1 hour structure, you can see that logic makes sense as well. So 4 hour has a bearish breakout, right? 1 hour has bearish structure. Just gonna mark it so you can see what I'm talking about. Oops. So you can see price is bearish. Why is it bearish? Because this structure got broken here. This was the last higher low that I marked for myself. And then when price broke this level down here became the new lower low. So you can see. Now what ends up happening, I wait for price to pull back, and I look for a setup first to see if there's a current setup, but I don't see any setup. If there's no setup, then I just drop time frames until I find a setup that makes sense for selling, right? So at this point, I'm looking at the CMP. Basically, I'm looking at this area to see if there's any sell setups. So then I go to the 15, don't see anything. Nothing on the 30, nothing on the 15. Then I go to the 5 minute, right? Sometimes I go to the 5 minute if it's a real obvious setup or not. And then this is what I noticed in the 5 minute is that price had created a QMR, right? So this was the QMR that I noticed. So you have the high, low, higher high, lower low, price came back and tapped and went down, right? So that's what happened on Wednesday. So I hope that makes sense. Pretty much you have logic and higher time frame context, so you're good to go there. So now we go to Thursday. Let's take a look and see what happened on Thursday. Same scenario. Price was at a higher high. Again, price is bullish, but I don't know what price is going to do. Price is at a higher high prior to New York. Go to the 1 hour time frame because I'm just trading flow, right? So on the 1 hour time frame, you notice that it wasn't a higher high prior to New York. It was actually a breakout level. So I marked this level up here as well, and then I marked this level here. And now if I'm looking for a pullback trade, the pullback trade would have happened during this candle here, right? So I go to the 30 minute, I see if there's any shift of structure, right? 30 minute shift of structure would have been this level right here. I'm just going to change this to green, right? So I go to the 15 minute, see if there was an earlier shift of structure. And for me, the earlier shift of structure would have been this one right here. So I would have looked for, I was looking for sells because I got an early shift of structure, but it just never pulled back. So I had my pending order here, but price never pulled back to this level and then went down. And then by the time it gets to, 9:45.10, I just remove it because at that point, price is bullish anyway, so there's no point in me taking the trade. So yeah, so this day there was nothing basically. Didn't really work out as a pullback trade. It wasn't really that obvious, and price just never came back to it anyway. So you just remove and move on, right? So that's pretty much it. So now what happens on New York session on this day? Again, price is bullish. What I'm looking at now is I'm looking at the overall structure, right? So now price is potentially creating a higher low. 4 hours potential higher low, right? That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm noticing. So now I'm looking for buys. Plus I had a bullish breakout right here, right? So I just mark these levels here. Then I go to the 1 hour time frame. So price is bullish on the 4 hour time frame, right? That's basically what I'm saying. Now I need to go to the 1 hour time frame and see if the 1 hour time frame is bullish or not, right? So if you notice, price broke this higher low here. This became the lower low. This became the lower high. Now price is back to bullish, right? So just going to show you the flow. So this one's the higher one, H1 higher high. And then this one's the H1 higher low. H1 higher low. Right, and then price body closed below this, so this became the lower low, and then this level up here became the lower high, and then price broke it, so now we have, this became the higher high, and then this was the higher low, right? So anyway, price basically broke this structure and then shifted it to bullish. Now the H1 and the 4 hour both aligned. Now first thing I do, as I said, is I look for a setup on the 1 hour if there's anything that makes sense. Otherwise, I drop down and I look at the CMP. So what I did notice is that there was a setup. For me personally, these two levels are valid. So I'm just going to remove this. So these two levels are absolutely valid because they overlap with the 4 hour. So you have, these are basically the two patterns, right? You have a breakout pattern and you have the QMR, right? So you have this, because price can come to this level and go up, or it can go to this one and go up. Most of the time, I will always take the QMR. But if I don't want to miss a trade, that's when I split my risk, right? As I mentioned to you guys before, I use 0.25, 0.25. So my risk is split in half between two positions because I don't know. Like, you know, I don't know which one price is going to go to. But if I'm going to have a choice, I'm going to always go with the QMR because price tends to respect that the most. But this obviously didn't play out according to my actual plan because it came later and I couldn't monitor it. So this happened at about 11 o'clock. Now, I may choose to adjust my plan, but I need to have data first. I don't just change my plan, you know, based on a whim. I need to have more data. So if this keeps happening outside of my trade time, I may just end up setting a pending order and setting a stop loss and take profit. But then I can't move my stop loss to break even. So this is just something I'm going to have to keep monitoring for myself and see if it makes any sense in the long run. But I just wanted to show you how it all works out and how you use logic to make sense of it. So I hope that helps. Thanks, guys.